to African Teapot podcast. My name is Exie and I'm your host. Journey with me through Africa's vast variety of culture, heritage, and discuss issues most African families face, both home and abroad. Make sure you add this podcast to your frequent podcast rotations, and don't forget to share and follow this podcast. Hello listeners, and thank you for tuning in for another episode on African Teapot. Today's episode is titled Dear Father, and before I get behind the story of, this whole episode, I have someone special with me. You want to go ahead and say hello?
Hello listeners, thank you for tuning in, and my name is Winnie and I'm from Kenya. I've known Edna for 10 years now.
Yes guys, it's that long.
Yes, it's been a long time.
I am Kenyan by association actually.
And I'm Cameroonian by association too.
Exactly. So as to tie with our last topic, African tree, we are sisters.
Yes.
So when I say she's my sister, now I guess everyone listening is African, so we understand when we say we are sisters. But before we get into anything, just want to reach out and for our listeners on the other side of the pond, back home, back in Africa, wherever country you're coming from, the atmosphere in Africa now is, protesting from one country to the other about this and that against their governments and, people dying and things like that. So we just want to reach out to them, Winnie, right? We're talking about it actually today.
It's about time Africa, has some change.
Yes. And we just want to thank those who are brave enough to go out there and protest on our behalf, say our story and lend their voices. And we also want to reach out to the families that have lost loved ones in the course of, fighting and standing up for their rights.
Yes, may their soul rest in peace.
Amen. And with that being said, guys, so Winnie does have a little proverb that ties with our topic for today.
Yes, guys. So our proverb for today is work the clay while it is still wet.
Nice.
Y'all get that?
Yep, I think
work
so.
the clay while it is still wet.
And it really ties with our topic. And our topic today is all the way from Zimbabwe. We have a listener that wanted to share her story because we are all about sharing personal experiences here so that it shouldn't be, we don't want to work with made up stuff, right?
No.
And we don't, and it's a journey for all of us. So nobody knows it all. We don't want to come like we already know everything. But this listener is all the way from Zimbabwe. She is here in the United States anyways, but she's originally from Zimbabwe. And she decided to share her story to inspire conversation and, just to inspire change as well, because she thinks this has to change, right?
Yes.
And so us being about bringing and sharing our culture, Winnie and I thought maybe let's have a little background to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So Zimbabwe is located in southern Africa and is bordered by Botswana, Zambia, and Mozambique. The capital is
Harare.
Thank you. And it has an estimated population as of 2018 to be 14.5 million. And English is the official language that they use for conduct business, commerce, and things like that.
Yes, and just to add some stuff, they have 16 other languages. And I'm just going to do a little shout out to all our Zimbabwean listeners. I'm going to say hi to y'all. Sawubona.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you. See, we're all learning. Like we said, it's a process for all of us. But at this point, I think we'll just go ahead and jump into our story. So I'm going to go ahead and read the letter that Rita emailed to us. And so that we can all follow the narration and be on the same page. Here it goes. Hello listeners, just like you guys, I am a follower of African Teapot. I love the issues that we discuss as a family. With this in mind, I have decided to share my story so as to raise awareness and also get feedback from my African Teapot family. My name is Rita and I am from Zimbabwe, but currently a resident in the United States. I am from a family of 6 kids. A mom and dad. That is 2 girls and 4 brothers. From young, I remember my mom and her sisters, being my aunt, always being around. My mom was always around to support all her kids to get an education and be responsible. My dad did provide financially sometimes, but I cannot remember him being there to speak to us or encourage us as young adults. He was always complaining or correcting my siblings and I for one thing or the other. There were always quarrels and fights between him and my mom. My mom was always somehow responsible for the mistakes we made as kids. I remember my mom being called out by his family for undermining my dad's influence on his children. He never supported my traveling to the United States as well. Today, he blames my mom for turning us against him and painting him out to be a bad guy. He expects money from me to support his political career and help his brothers, being my uncles, in times of trouble. These uncles have gone as far as to call me to complain and accuse my mom of brainwashing us. This is a man who acted as though he was never wrong. I have tried to establish a relationship as much as I can, but it's still not enough. I respect him as my dad, but he can just not compare to my mom. Am I selfish or a bad child to my dad? Okay, Winnie, and okay, guys. I'm exhausted just from reading it. Exhausted from processing, because it's a lot. Winnie, what's your opinion? Let me just ask you.
I see three things here, three problems, like kind of like something that's going on just from listening to what you just said. So I see biasness, then I see ego, and then I see like some nonchalant attitude, especially with African men. And I'm not saying all African parents are terrible, but just listening to her story is like the dad expects certain things to be done,
right?
But it's like if you want your kids to treat you like a father or like as daddy or whatever,
or papa
or whatever, she calls him. It's like you have to work as a team
with the mother.
Like, yes, I know the saying, gender roles and certain things, but I'm like, when it comes to raising children, I don't care. Parents need to be in one accord.
Yes, and what we are saying is we are not taking out that there needs to be some responsibility.
Yes.
There is something too. I want to say, and I'm going to say it here on record. Fathers, you are the first male role model for your daughters. And mothers, you are the first role model for your sons in terms of being women. You are the first woman he's going to have a relationship, and you are the first man your daughter is going to have a relationship with. If we have that in the back of our minds, I think we'll behave better as parents.
Yes.
I think so.
And that ties into the proverb that we're talking about.
Exactly. You are the potter. And I still feel like this dad is still the potter in this story. He still has time to change. Because because his daughter, being Rita, and with her other siblings, the fact that they are looking for a solution means they all want it to be fine.
Yes.
So I think, to me, I also saw here that there's communication. And I would advise Rita that she needs to sit down and have that conversation. They need to have a naked conversation. That's the word I'll use. She needs to have a naked conversation with her dad, and then have it with her mom.
They'll probably have a mediator, somebody who has a neutral ground, like not bringing the uncles and all that side of those.
No, definitely not the uncles that call her to blackmail her emotionally. Like, not those uncles.
Yes.
But I still feel like, because when she spoke to me, I think she's capable of doing it on her own. I think so. Okay. Because the brothers are older. And she says they talk about it. So if there is some biasness against females, the older brothers can go in there and they have like I said, a naked conversation with the dad. And the dad has to be called to the point that he understands that he has a responsibility to make the relationship different.
And it's
because
not an attack.
Yes.
You know, he can be like, oh, y'all are attacking me. Oh, so you guys now went and spoke with your mom and you guys came here to attack me.
Right.
You know, because, you know,
I know, the ego is there.
Exactly.
But nevertheless, the only way it can get better is that they have to talk about it.
Yeah, they have to sit down and
so
talk.
In African terms, I know pastors sometimes step in this situation.
Exactly.
Elder family members, not immediate, but in our culture, you have that person
like
they see like an overall father.
Yes.
In all the families or things like that. Or somebody that your dad respects.
Right.
There's somebody that he probably respects or listens to or holds that person in high regards. Maybe that person can step in and mediate, like Winnie said. But I'm just saying she too is capable. She sounds capable, and she sounds like she just feels like maybe her mom's marriage with the dad is not working because the kids, are closer to their mom than the dad. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So there are different moving parts to the story, and that are still unfolding. And then one other thing I wanted to say, which also ties to our earlier episode, is extended family members, which you already spoke. These uncles.
Right.
Because you can see, I'm sorry, somebody will say sexism, and I will not blame that person, because my sister, just think of this. The men on the father's side, plus her dad, are accusing her mom for not doing enough. But did you realize in her letter, she said she remembers her mom and her mom's sisters, that's being her aunts, being there for them.
Helping,
and then
coming to a foreign world where you don't know anybody.
Exactly. And then the only time she mentions her uncles is when they are ganging up with the dad to beat on the mom. When I mean beat, not physically, she didn't talk about physical abuse, but kind of like beat on the mom emotionally. Like, you are the one causing these kids to misbehave
this way and stuff. And you know, sometimes in Africa, I think, and another thing too, Edna, XC,
it's fine. I'm both.
I know. So
I am both.
It's like, I feel like sometimes with our culture, sometimes if you are outspoken, sometimes it's looked like, oh, she's being disrespectful. Or probably right now the uncles will be like, oh, now she went on a foreign
to a foreign country.
Now she feels like now she can talk to us, and now she wants to say, you know, she has certain things. But I'm like, I think it's time that they need to have the conversation.
That's what I'm saying. Communication here is the only way.
Exactly. And somebody
has to be, if the mom, they're interested in salvaging their parents' marriage and salvaging theirs, there has to be healing. And healing can come if you're not discussing it, if you're not talking about it. You have to talk about it, and then the healing process can start.
Because you say Rita has younger siblings, right?
She has younger ones, but her two brothers are older.
Exactly. Right. So you see, like, it's a pattern. Can you imagine it started from Rita and it's just going down?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have 4 brothers and 2 sisters, and I'm like, look at it, what it's doing. Look at the pattern. It's like a generational kind of thing. It just keeps going and going. And guess what? When this child grows up, then you're saying, why is this child rebellious? Oh, why is this child this way?
And then usually they'll be like, your mom
mom never raised you well.
Let's say mom's name is Beatrice. They'll be like, Beatrice, take care of your son. We Africans know this too well. We know this too well.
Like, if it's good things, it's the dad's side.
Oh yeah, dads take praise. Yes, and
but
then when it's
bad things,
the mother is not doing enough.
That's the mom's job.
And
you didn't do this well.
If you tie with our topic, even African family tree, and you tie with this one, you realize that women are being placed to. That's why we call them super women. Our shout out to our mothers. You know, they are responsible for each and every relationship. They try to make that the relationship between father and children work. The relationship between them and their husbands work. The relationship with the in-laws work. The relationships with, it's like they need to be in good terms. It's up to them to do it.
In addition to that, make the home a home. Can you imagine how that?
Kudos to mothers, really.
Yes.
And then most of the dads don't realize sitting and asking someone to do something is different from showing somebody how. Instead of saying, hey, when you go fishing, make sure you bring a big fish. If I've got 1-2 times and I can't bring it, get yourself up, go to the stream with me or ocean or wherever I'm fishing and teach me how to fish. That is why you're my dad.
Exactly.
But they don't take initiative. They spend the time beating down on someone emotionally, because the only time she's talking about her dad is he was always complaining. They were always at fault. He was never contented. And when she spoke to me, you could hear that from her voice. It's like it's almost like he was never happy in the marriage. Like he was never happy with the family. They were never enough. And then it's weird because suddenly she's enough for him to ask money to further his political ambitions. Do you see how selfish that is?
Out of curiosity, honestly, I'm like, do you feel like maybe the father probably when he was growing up, he didn't have like a father figure maybe?
That is what we are saying. There is that lack coming down. And guys, when we are talking about this, we choose to specify on Africa because we are trying to change our story and we are trying to start one step at a time.
Right.
But this narrative is across the world because even here in the States, Winnie, how many single mothers
are there?
You see, this topic is endless, but we choose to talk about Africa because in Africa, not enough most of the time is being said. Not enough most of the time is being done. Sometimes people don't know. The ignorance sometimes too is a problem.
It's a problem, yes.
Because if you have a father who is ignorantly doing what he thinks fathers should do because that's what he saw, and then information has to come in there to let him know that what he's doing is not right. Because maybe the father is guilting these children emotionally, but for the benefit of a doubt, maybe he doesn't know how to make it any better.
Right.
That could be something else, right? Or maybe he knows and it's just the ego won't let him do stuff, right? But as human beings and as a child, I'm speaking from that perspective, that longing of wanting to have relationship and be in good terms with both parents. I see why she wants the family to heal, and I see why she's giving that benefit of a doubt.
Yeah,
that there's half a shot
another
to make it
thing
okay.
too for Rita, which I kind of understand where she's coming from. It's like it's like a wound. You know, if you don't treat the wound, guess what? It's just gonna keep spreading and spreading
an ulcer.
And spreading
and
spreading. And it's like, I know she is trying to not let her family, like separate or be like a broken home. But sometimes I feel like it is time to. Sometimes it's good to speak up. Because
and sometimes it's also good to let go.
Personal experience.
I know.
You gotta let go, and sometimes I'm telling you, you gotta ask that man upstairs, wherever you believe in, like, God, I don't want to harbor this anger and hatred, and the trauma, because you have to.
She has to
heal. Exactly.
Yeah, she has to.
She has to heal. And I'm like, it's about time someone needs to talk to the dad and be like, okay, the way you're treating your children, that's not the right way. And all this, like, oh, hey, like a dictator kind of thing, like, okay, you don't do this to me, you don't get this, like,
yeah.
Let's say this, okay, fine, he needs help for,
and he's
with
demanding
political things. You're demanding. There's a way he can ask, without kind of coming out like, okay,
and there's a way you can ask without
it's my
making
way
the
or the highway,
not making the child feel like not giving you means I'm supporting
mom. No,
I can support both of you differently,
exactly,
right? Just like you guys. And again, this is another thing too, Winnie, when we were talking about, we moms and dads can come together,
yes,
to raise children while playing different roles. Because that's another thing. Because the next thing is going to be, are you saying when mom does laundry on Monday, I should do laundry on Tuesday? No, that's ridiculous. That's not what we're saying. If mom is good at doing the laundry and dad is good at doing homework or cooking, it's teamwork. But don't say dad must do laundry when you know he can't do laundry. You understand what I'm saying? So if the mother is good at, say, doing the laundry, dropping the kids off at school, picking them up, and you, the dad, you're good at bringing in the money. Maybe you're good at, you understand what I'm saying, at different things, giving advice or what. But for me personally, I think giving advice to kids and getting to know your kids is both ways.
Both ways, yes.
I think it's both ways. And it helps you in the long run when these kids grow and they're having issues, even in their marital homes. You know how to speak to Rita, you know how to speak to Brandon. And
every parent knows their child. They know, I know this
exactly,
child.
But most times, African parents do not. Their own kids have issues or they have issues with their kids. They don't know how to fix it. They have to look for somebody else.
Sometimes they be like, hey, go talk to your mom.
And I'm like, that's your wife.
What do you mean?
I'm not saying I can't intercede, but sometimes you see the men running away from conflict. I'm like, you cannot even solve the conflict within your own family because you don't know the members of your family.
Yes.
Because you thought the mother was everything. And sometimes in African homes, you see if an unfortunate incident happens, like a mother passing on,
right,
the kids are stranded because Papa doesn't know John, doesn't know Peter, doesn't know Rose. So when Rose is mad at John, Daddy doesn't know how to mediate between both kids because he's lost. So it's the responsibility of every relationship with your family members fall on you, both dad and mom.
Right.
Mom is not responsible.
100%.
Yes, mom is not responsible for how your kids treat you. You are responsible for how those kids treat you. Mom is a potter and you are also a potter. She will do the best she can and you do the best. She can't do 100%. Please, our mothers need a break.
And nobody is perfect.
Yes, our mothers need a break.
Mold that pot, whatever into one, but it takes two.
Our mothers need a break, and dads, you need to step up more. The way you guys were raised, the way the whole male and female thing was going on is totally
you
wrong.
Guys need to break this generational thing of like it's a
we need to
woman's
stop that
duty
cycle
to do this and it's a man's duty to do this. No,
right?
It's a team effort.
Exactly. And we have some questions that came up when we posted this on social media, so we're just going to go ahead and quickly look at the question so that it's going to help Rita, right? Because she's looking for a solution. So we're just going to go ahead and get into that. Okay, guys, so we are just going to get into some of the questions that were raised when this topic was, or when I put this topic out on social media. So the first question, Winnie, is, why are mothers often close to kids than fathers in the African setting?
And I know this might come out weird or biased, but I feel like kids always go to a safer ground.
Kids, kids
kids
are so
want to
honest.
Exactly.
Kids are very honest.
So if they feel like you're kind of like, they're not gonna come to you. But if they feel like mommy's always, I'm sick, mommy, I have a tummy ache. You know, boom, mommy has the medicine. Mommy fixes everything. Mommy's the fixer.
Because kids,
but dad will be like, hey, I'm watching news. Go to your mom. You see,
that is so.
That's. I know you're laughing.
No,
but that's the truth, right?
The accent.
Exactly. Like that's all they're doing.
Oh my God, your interpretation of an typical African dad.
Okay,
guys, I'm sorry. Excuse me, but I also think that I agree with you, by the way, and I think, guys, in simple terms, what Winnie, my dear sister, is trying to tell us all the way from Kenya is mothers spend time being the potter. They spend time molding these kids the best they can with the little they've got. We know the culture and the society we come from. We don't have much to go by, but mothers do the best. When Rita spoke to me, her mom would, she was a vendor. She would do the most. It's similar to that. It's similar to that story on African Tree. I swear, guys, it's almost, and when you speak to her, you get it. Sweet girl, nice, down to earth, working real hard out here to make things better for her family. And you see here how supportive her mother has been and continues to be. Question 2, Winnie. Why most African parents regard kids questioning as rude, even in their adult life?
I just feel like our culture sometimes doesn't take being outspoken as a good thing sometimes, because it's like when these kids grow older and they've done, like, let's say they've gone past university and they're looking for jobs, they're forgetting that this, besides just nurturing and taking the child to school and getting education, you also have to let them be who they are. You see,
they have
you
to
cannot
be
just cave. You cannot cage these children. Like, you can't say something. You see,
you can't do something.
You have to expose them to things. Okay, hey, sometime later in your adulthood, you might face this, but guess what? This is how you go with it. This is how you deal with it.
There is a difference between giving somebody values versus wanting somebody to be a specific thing that you want them to be. Sometimes African parents go as far as choosing careers and things like that.
I need you to be a doctor.
They go as far as choosing wives and husbands and things like that. which is typically sometimes you have people who are adults, but they haven't figured out who they are. And that's coming from our culture.
Or somebody tells you like, oh, my dad is living through me.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before too.
Oh, he's a doctor. He wants me to be a doctor, but I'm like, I don't feel like I don't want to be a doctor. But then you're like, okay, I'm scared to say this because he will think I'm rude. But look at that. Look at what you're doing to this child. You're caging them.
And African parents sometimes, I think they don't realize when kids outgrow
certain things. Exactly.
Like something that I did when I was 14.
I
may not want to do it now that I'm 20.
Right.
I may not want to do it when I'm 30. Or you are 30 and they talk to you like you're 11.
11, exactly.
I get it. I will always be your child. I know that feeling where you're still your baby.
See, I'm older now. Yes, and my mom still calls me my baby.
Exactly. But there is a difference when your baby is growing in her babyhood or in his babyhood.
Yes.
Right? That's what we're trying to say. And then the third question that came up too was, should kids advise parents, and if so, when?
That's a very interesting topic because with African culture and African household,
it's a tricky thing. Lucky and blessed are you if you're coming from a progressive.
Because sometimes
progressive home
I know
in Africa.
I know some of y'all will relate with this. The moment you just open your mouth, the slap that you will receive.
Hey, and for our non-African listeners, we don't mean beating. It's just like
a metaphor.
Also, or sometimes a little knock, a pinch on the arm.
They will be like, did you just say that?
Sometimes it's just the look. Yes. You get a stare.
Oh yes, I think y'all know this.
And you know, like, I am out. Like, no, I'm not
even try it.
Exactly.
But I feel like sometimes parents, they may have like I'm gonna say like a hindsight or a blind spot sometimes. And if let's say I'm an older kid and I'm seeing like, okay, maybe my mom did this mistake with me, and I'm like, now I have younger siblings. Like now especially with this new generation and technology, social media. Up until now, sometimes the mom is like, okay, hey, your sister is doing this. Can you talk to her? Because she knows I can relate
to the struggle
that child is facing. So she's like, okay, talk to your sister. You see, there, she's not like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna I cannot get advice from Winnie because Winnie is she's my daughter or she's younger than me, so I don't want to listen to her opinion. But guess what? Like we said, that pot.
You gotta mold it.
You gotta mold it.
Some pots, when you're molding, you may need a little bit of water, more water than the other pot or cup you molded. You can't have kids and you think one way of behaving is going to work with all of those kids. Yeah. That's impossible. And you think all of those kids are going to be exactly like you. That's ridiculous. No. That can't work. And then then the question was when. When we say adult, I feel that once a child can earn a living, once a child is 18 in African can earn a living, that child can relate to some of the struggles that are going on in the family. They are feeling it. Because if I am feeling something, I should be able to tell her that, hey, mom, you're stepping on my toes and it hurts. Exactly. Your shoe is on my toe and it hurts because I'm feeling the hurt.
Right.
It's unfair when I'm feeling it and you tell me I can't speak.
Yeah, don't say anything.
You see, that is not different from us protesting against the government. There is no difference with that.
Right there.
And then question number 4 is, why is it difficult to tell parents they are wrong? Because they are all knowing in African setting.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this to
parents. And it's like if you're younger too, they feel like your opinion doesn't matter, which sometimes hurts.
Like you're invisible.
Yeah, you're invisible. That hurts.
When you speak, you're just being yelled at.
And that's a terrible thing as a kid. That's like poking the bear.
I don't see that conversation coming up pleasant.
No.
In any way you look at it, in an African setting.
Even if you come with a good tone, like, trying to make your mom's favorite meal, and you're going like, hey, daddy, no.
I'm sorry. Like they'll say, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, it's not going to
So
go
I
well.
think it's something that if you want to do as a child or as a kid, you need to accept that you will be faulted.
Right.
You need to accept that they are going to rebel. They are your parents, but they will rebel against you if you're speaking. They will not like it.
Right.
We need to just accept it. When you, just like Rita, you're going to face resistance. before you can ever
like they say, Rome was not built on a day.
Exactly.
So it's a process.
It's a process. And guys, we are trying to break this cycle, right?
Yes.
Anyway,
that's why we bring awareness.
It's a cycle that has been going on for years, so we can't just break it overnight too.
And also, just to add on that, I think also women too need to stop what's the word, like this behavior of sitting like, okay, I'm the mother, I'm gonna deal with the child. Like they need to stop making this.
They need
African
to speak up
men,
a little more.
Speak up your mind. Like, don't be afraid.
That's what we're saying. And we said that respect is different from fear. Sometimes African parents think that when a child is scared of you, that's a good thing. No. If you have your child and that child is seeking advice from somewhere else, Googling answers from somewhere else when you're right there is a problem. That means you don't have communication with your own kids, and that means you don't know, you're unaware of your own children. And the last question that came up is why mothers deal with backlash from family and husbands when kids are wrong. It's the same thing you just said.
I say,
it's acceptance. We've accepted it to be normal, but it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not okay.
It's not.
It's not okay.
And it's the same children you're protecting tend to be affected by it. Those children are not happy.
No.
They are I don't care who you are, your mom and your dad fighting sucks.
And especially in front of the kids.
It's terrible. I don't care who wants to tell me. I don't care if you're a psychologist, you're a pastor. I don't care who you are. It's not a good feeling. You feel like you just feel like running away.
Like you're in between. You're trying to...
And the worst one is when they're trying to make you... It's almost like you need to choose a side. That's unfair. Because I didn't ask to be here.
Exactly.
I didn't. I don't know why I'm dealing with your stuff. You understand? You start feeling things like that, which is not right. So for the final question, which was posed by Rita. I'm sorry. Am I selfish? That's the question she asked.
I don't think
no,
she is.
You are not. If for anything you've been selfless for a very, very long time, you've been supportive for a very, very long time.
And I'll actually also say she's brave.
To actually bring this up.
Because do you know how many families
are going
through this and they're not saying anything?
They're not. And so many marriages are breaking because of this.
Because of this, exactly.
Because extended family members come in there to bully someone. And usually it's the lady. They always come to bully the mom. Guys, like we said, her letter, we had to split it in two. So the rest of the letter, we'll complete it for the next episode. But hopefully we learned something. Hopefully we got something out of this. And hopefully we helped. Right? And I know the help will continue because people will keep... I know how we are here. After every episode that airs, I see it. Everybody has something to say. Most people, at least, have something to say. So like we said, the show is attached now with a voice messaging system. So you can always leave your contributions there.
Yes, we love those opinions.
Yes, please. We can use it. The email is there. The DMs are there. Direct comments are there. Anybody who has done any of this knows we are on it on time. We have so many people here in the background and behind the scenes. So we are on it. We're going to get back to you. And just to round things up, I want to do like a quick thank you to those of you who are supporting the show. We are growing. Believe it, guys. We've been a month into this. This is our 5th episode. Yay! And I know, a little clap for myself there and for every other person supporting. Yes, and thank you so much for your financial contributions and any other kind of contributions, guys. I always appreciate it. I always say that. I know some people were saying, well, what if we want to support you like one time? Because I think on the website it says you need to subscribe or something. So please reach out to me. Some of you have. So if that's the confusion you're having, reach out to me. I'll let you know. Anyways, But thank you so much. We're growing. We need there's so much we need to grow this fam. This fam right here, right? This African teapot. We need more tea leaves or whatever. But at this juncture, Winnie, we are going to sign out and we're going to say goodbye.
And thank you guys for having me.
Thank you,
and
Winnie.
thank you for having me too, Miss Exie.
Of course, dear sister in African sense. All right, guys. See you guys for the next episode. Thank you for listening and hope you join me for the next episode. You can always reach us via email at africanteapot@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at African_teapot.